Hey guys, Paul here from Wiley's Outdoor World. Thought I'd come out and make a video today. It's been a while since I've actually made a video and I felt it was a bit long overdue. So today I've come out and I want to share an idea with you guys, and that is I'm planning on putting together some primitive fire kits. So what I mean by that is primitive tinders. As you can probably see here, I have a mixture of chaga, also have some horse's hoof, the old favourite which is birch bark, and in my container here I have some cattails. Hopefully you guys can see that. So the idea here was to make these fire kits for you guys that can't get out, or maybe you can't go out, don't have the spare time, or you're busy with other things, or maybe you can't find this stuff where you are. It's to give you guys the chance to get hands on, but it's also about giving you guys the more primitive experience, the way I go out and do stuff, because I know a lot of us on the group are all very kit orientated, and some guys like that, some guys don't. I myself am not really a kit guy, so I thought I'd give you guys an opportunity to sort of buy into what I get up to. And I'm not really interested in money, to be honest. People that know me know that money is a very small part of what I care about. But what I am into is meeting up with you guys and getting to spend time with new people that have similar interests. To the likes of Drew, I'd like to go and see, sorry for putting the knife, I'd like to go and see Drew, for example, or meet up with Lee or Richard, or I plan to go and see Katie eventually. And money, as we all know, is something that you kind of need these days, even if you don't want it. So this would all go towards getting to go and meet you guys. So instead of just sitting here yammering on, I will give you a wee bit of a demonstration, if you like, try and show you a few bits and pieces. I plan on having, so the stuff I said a minute ago, chaga, horsehoof, cattails and birch bark, that's all going to be in, but I'd also like to get my hands on maybe some fat wood or some pine resin as well, stuff like that. If there's anything you guys feel you want in the kit, then you just have to leave a comment or whatever, and I can try and go out and source that for you guys. So yeah, that's enough rambling on. Let me show you guys a few bits and pieces. I don't want to make this video too long, so let's get stuck into some fire lighting. Okay guys, so the first thing we're going to do is try out some birch bark. I've got a bit here, nice and clean. It's still a bit damp. I just collected it today, and as you can see, it's been snowing. And what I like to do is you see a lot of people going on about how good birch bark is, and how amazing it is for starting fires and stuff, but they never really tell you the best way of doing it or using it, I guess. So the way I like to do it is to have something hard underneath, and that stops you from poking through into dirt or tearing your birch bark or anything like that. And the way I like to do it is just to get a nice big piece, clean like this, and use the side of my knife to scrape it, and you end up with little shavings, and that's what you end up driving your spark into. So I'll do that just now. Do it this way, otherwise you'll rip your birch bark like I just did. And you don't need loads and loads. The more you have, the better your chances, As with all fire lighting, the more of something you have and the more of something you can use, the better your chances, especially on a wet day like this. So hopefully you guys can see that. I'm just scraping along sideways with my knife to create these little shavings. And you know, that's the sort of stuff we're going for. So just a wee bit more. Better safe than sorry. Okay, so we've got a wee pile there. Now the next thing is to use your ferro rod. I've got a big one here that I just got the other day. You might have seen me putting a handle on it. And a lot of people have different ways of using ferro rods. My preferred method is to use a knife instead of a scraper, because for me I just get better sparks that way. And I like to drive down on it so you can, you know, really drive your sparks into whatever it is you're trying to get. But the other way people do it is they'll hold their knife above their tinder like this, and they'll just pull back on it. They'll pull their ferro rod back, and that will, you know, shower sparks onto whatever it is. So let's see if we can get this little bit of birch bark going here. There we go. Now with that initial flame, what I like to do is get more pieces going. So as you can see, I've got this piece going here. You know, that's really the way you use, well, the way I use birch bark, the way I've always interpreted it should be used, I guess. You know, and you can use the same bit of birch bark over and over and over again. You just have to scrape more off, and you can continue to use it. So we'll give that another go, just a quick one. No, not enough there. But I mean, as you guys seen the first time, it's pretty good. This is damp from collecting it today, and you know, it's not processed in any way. So for what it is, it does work really quite well. I'll try and give you guys just one more demonstration. Okay, so you're scraping your birch bark, getting a nice big pile. You know, make sure you've got as much as you can get. Ferro rod in. Sparks down. Use that initial flame to get some more pieces going. There we go, hopefully you guys can see that. You know, birch bark is good in the way that it burns quite aggressively, I suppose would be a good word for it. So I mean, I've had this piece going for quite a while now, and all you'd have to do is just carry on getting bits and pieces, and you know, you just build up your fire that way. So yeah, that's the power of birch bark. Okay guys, so next on the list of tinders I'm going to show you that are going to be in the fire kit is chaga. Some of you guys might have seen me going on about this stuff on the page. A lot of people go a bit mental when you say that you burn it, but that is really what it's good for, you know, as well as making tea. But in a primitive sense, you know, they weren't worried about making tea, they were worried about keeping their fire going. And that's exactly what this is good for. So what you do with this is you cut off a little chunk, and that's what you'll get in the fire kit. So it'll be a little sort of cube, and you just drive a spark into it, and if it takes a spark it should smoulder for quite a while. Chaga burns really hot, and it lasts for quite a while. I mean, if I was to start this piece off here, it would probably last a good 4 or 5 hours, you know. So what we do with this is just take a chunk from it. So I'll take a bit off this side. So you're looking for this kind of, this orangey, and that's the actual chaga itself. What chaga does is infect wood and turns it into its own sort of fruit body, so it just converts wood really. So I'll take a little bit off this, if I can. Hard stuff. Okay, so here's a piece that might work. I'll put the big piece aside. And what you want to do with this is just take your ferro rod and try and scrape sparks onto it. So the way I like to do it is I'll use my ferro rod to hold it in place, because you could spend all day going like this, you know, and you might never get a spark on it. So the way I like to do it is just to push down on it with my ferro rod, try and keep it in the one place, and scrape sparks down on it. And when it takes a spark, it will start to glow. And then once you've got that glow, you can blow on it and help it along, and it slowly gets bigger. And then with that, you would add that into dried grass, or, you know, whatever sort of tinder you have, and blow on it, and that would essentially blow into flame. So I'll see if I can get a spark in this to take. So there we go. Hopefully you guys can see that. Doesn't really take much at all. As you can see, it just kind of smoulders away, does its own thing, you know. I mean, you seen me take it off that chunk there. So that would then be placed into dry grass. You blow on it. And then essentially you get your fire from that. So that's chaga for you guys. There will be little cubes of that in there. You know, I mean, you could use this to start a fire and then just snub it out. And you can continue to use it again and again and again. But this is why chaga is so good for fire lighting. I mean, only 3 or 4 strikes there from the ferro rod, and you know, it goes up, no problem. Another important thing to note with this is make sure it's out, because I've heard of people lighting it and then leaving it to smoulder, thinking it's been put out, you know, it'll just carry on going without them even knowing, and next thing you know, there's a hole burnt in the bottom of their kit or something like that. So seeing as I've got some here, I'll just dunk this in some snow. That'll put it out, make sure it's safe. You know, it's always better to be safe than sorry, especially if you, I mean, if a dry day and you use chaga and leave it out in the woods, that's just asking for trouble. So that's chaga for you guys. There'll be chunks of that included in the kit, probably little sort of inch by inch chunks. A lot of people could also use it for making tea if that's what they wanted to do. The next thing I'm going to show you is cattails, so I'll get them set up just now. Okay guys, so I keep my cattails in a container like this. There's a tutorial on this container on the YouTube page if you want to check it out. As you can see, it keeps it all nice and dry, it's all there, and it's cram-packed full of this stuff. So, cattail is a funny tinder, it doesn't behave how you think it would. You'd kind of just expect that to go up in flames, I guess, but it's really quite different. It will take a spark, it will flare up for about a second or two, and then it sort of smoulders after that. So the same way you would use chaga and put it in dry grass is the same way you sort of use cattails. And this really shouldn't take too much at all. I'll just drive a couple of sparks into it and hopefully you guys will get to see what I'm talking about. So there's no real way of lighting it, just the way I usually do it, as I said, is just put the rod in, hold it, and then strike down on it. So you've probably seen there how it flares up for like just, well, half a second, you know. And it's important that you carry on striking after that, because what that is just all the tiny fibres burning up. What cattail really does is when it's thick, it smoulders like the chaga does. So hopefully you guys can see that. It's just smouldering away, quite the thing. And again, you put this in dry grass, blow on it. And as you can see, it's burns quite hot. Doesn't take much at all, and it won't blow into flame in your hands. That's why you need grass or some other dry tinder to actually get it going. See, so that's cattail for you. And again, if you just leave this, it will smolder away by itself for quite a while. So there'll also be a bit of that in the primitive fire kit as well. I'm afraid that's kind of all I have for demonstration purposes today, but I'll pull you guys back up so you can see my face, and we'll talk a wee bit more. Okay guys, so there you have it. That's 3 of the things that will be in the primitive fire kit. And also that I never showed you today will be horsehoof, which works much in the same way as chaga does. But the amadou in this will take a much less intense spark, so to speak. So there will also be some of that in there. Another thing I'd like to add into the kit is fatwood. A lot of guys like that stuff too. But like I said earlier, if there's anything you guys actually want specifically, so I mean the likes of, I don't know, say charcloth or pine resin to play with, or you know, anything along those lines, I can easily get that for you guys. So that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I would appreciate it if you left me maybe just a comment saying, you know, what your thoughts on this are, whether it's something you would like, you know, if it's something you would actually maybe want, you know, because I don't want to force this on you guys. I want you guys to sort of just want this natural aspect in your kit, I guess. And it's not for everyone, but if it is something you want, leave a comment, and if there's any suggestions for stuff you want to see in the kit, just leave it there as well. And if there's enough interest, then you know I can easily start making them for you guys. Price wise, I don't know, I wouldn't want to charge any more than a tenner, so I'd say maybe like £5 for a kit with 5 items in it, or more maybe even. As I said earlier, money's not that important, and whatever postage might be, I don't want to charge you guys a fortune for something that's, you know, natural and you could find yourself if you had the time or whatever. So yeah, that's it guys, I'm going to stop rambling now. I hope you enjoyed it, hope it made a wee bit of sense and maybe helped you out when it comes to lighting some of these things. If there's anything that I've been unclear on, or you know you want a little bit more information on, just leave a comment or whatever. And yeah, that's going to do it for today guys. So thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon.